welcome to the Education Connection Day for the 30th Annual Midland Storytelling Festival. This program provides content for middle school, grades 4 through 6. Our tellers today are Antonio Rocha of Gray, Maine, Barbara McBride-Smith of Jonesboro, Tennessee, and Donald Davis of Ocracoke, North Carolina. As you listen to their stories, pay attention to the way that language is used to convey visual images. And then when the stories are through, think about how we connect what we hear with what we see in our minds and what we're even able to convey in writing. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hello, my name is Antonio Rocha, and before I start the story, I'd like to wish the Midland Storytelling Festival a happy 30th anniversary. Yeah! And I am coming to you all the way from the great state of Maine. That's right, way up on the northeast coast. This story comes from Africa, which is the second largest continent in the world. I mean, it's so big. Africa is not a country. Africa is not a town. Africa is a massive chunk of land called a continent. On one side of it, there's the Atlantic Ocean. On the other side of it, there's the Indian Ocean. And above it is the Mediterranean Sea. And in Africa itself, there are 54 countries. 54 countries. Yes. And the greatest desert in the world, the Sahara Desert, and jungles and big cities and artists and teachers and librarians and people going to work every day and beautiful animals in Africa too. And the highest mountain in Africa, it's a volcano. It's 19,340 feet high. That's Mount Kilimanjaro. Yeah. All right. But today I'd like to tell you a story about what happened one day in Africa a long time ago when the sun got very, very hot one day. It was so hot, so early in the morning, so hot, so early that all the animals woke up already thirsty. Oh, it's so dusty. Oh, I'm so parched. I need water. Yeah, somebody get some water. All the animals were so desperate to get some water so early in the morning. Just think about it. It was like 100 degrees right in the morning. And you know, if you're an animal, you don't have a water fountain to get water from, you know, like you do in school. No. You don't have like a refrigerator with cold water in it. No. If you're an animal, you need to go to a river. You need to go to a lake. You need to do, get to some water source really fast. And that's what the animals decided to do. They ran to the nearest water hole. Oh, you should have been there to see this grand African stampede. They went buggity, 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 bam! It was wild. Cheetah running next to lion, running next to gazelle, running next to giraffe. They wanted to get to the water hole right away. Buggity, 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 bam! It was a classic African stampede. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that cheetah got to the water hole first. Yeah, because cheetah is the fastest cat in the world. Yeah. Wow. Cheetah would get anywhere first. Not in this story. Oh, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking lion got there first because lion is the king. Oh, yeah. Lion would be allowed to get anywhere first because lion is mighty. Lion is the king. Yes, lion is the king. But lion did not get there first. It was not gazelle. It was not giraffe. It was not mighty elephant. You know who got to the water hole first? A chicken. Yep, you heard me right. It was a chicken, all right. And chicken went like this. Chicken got to the water hole, right there to the water's edge. The water was so nice and cool, and it was, oh, chicken put its chicken feet in the water like this, and chicken went, ah. That felt so good, and right away, chicken started drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking, woo, and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking some more, and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking, woo, and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking some more. But chicken was so hot. Oh, chicken was hot, chicken was miserable, chicken was sticky, chicken was sweaty, chicken's feathers were all droopy, sticking out the chicken's skin. Oh, chicken was so miserable, so hot. And what would you do if you're that hot and you have this water right in front of you? You know, like a pond. What would you do? You'd jump in. And that's what chicken decided to do. Chicken took a splash. Who'd think about that? Chicken took a splash and chicken went, oh yeah, oh, that feels good. The water nice and cool. And then chicken drank some more. Chicken, oh yeah, took another splash. And pretty soon, chicken had it down to a rhythm, and chicken was going, drinking and splashing, woo, and drinking and splashing, wow, and drinking and splashing, woo, and drinking and splashing, wow, and drinking and splashing, woo, and drinking and splashing. Oh, chicken was having such a good time drinking and splashing in the water hole. But all that fun chicken was having woke up crocodile down below. Whoa, crocodile didn't have to go to the water hole. Crocodile was not thirsty. You know, did you know that crocodiles never get thirsty? Because they're always near the water or in the water. So they are always drinking water. So they never get thirsty. They're always like hydrated. Yeah, even though their skins are so rough and so dry, crocodiles are always hydrated on the inside. Yeah, and so crocodiles, besides eating meat, they love to sleep. And that crocodile was trying to sleep all the way to 2 p.m. Yeah, they love to sleep late. And crocodile is way down at the bottom of the water hole, and chicken's on the top going, drinking and splashing, woo, and drinking and splashing, wow, and drinking and splashing, woo, and drinking and splashing, wow. And crocodile went, uh-oh. Do you think that chicken heard that? Nope, chicken did not hear that. And crocodile swam up very slowly to the surface of the water hole to see who was making all that noise in Crocodile's neighborhood. Yeah. Ooh, who is making all this noise in my neighborhood this early in the morning? Can I have some peace and quiet around here or something? Oh. Oh. I see a chicken drinking and splashing my neighborhood. That reminds me I haven't eaten in about 6 weeks. I think with a single bite, I will get 2 things right. I'll get my neighborhood quiet and my stomach full again. Uh-oh, do you think that chicken saw crocodile coming? And crocodile with its long and mighty tail, it went ka-choom, chow, ka-choom, che, ka-choom, chow, ka-choom, che, ka-choom, chow, ka-choom, che, ka-choom, chow, ka-choom, che. And chicken was going, oh, drinking and splashing, woo, and drinking and splashing, wow, and drinking and splashing, woo, and drinking and splashing, wow. When all of a sudden, crocodile's mouth opened up and chicken looked inside a crocodile's throat. Please don't eat me. Please don't bite me, crocodile. Please don't bite me. Please don't eat me. Crocodile, listen up. Crocodile, listen. Listen, I have something very important to tell you. Crocodile, listen up. Listen. Crocodile, I'm your sister. A chicken told the crocodile, I'm your sister. I mean, can you believe such a thing? And crocodile was about to eat chicken, and crocodile went, what? It was too late. It was too late. Crocodile was standing there and chicken was gone. And crocodile was left with a big old empty stomach going, there's no way in this world chicken is my sister. I mean, look at me. Look at a chicken. And besides, I live here in the water hole. Chicken lives in the jungle. I got rough, thick skin. Chicken has feathers. I got a mouth full of teeth. Chicken doesn't even have teeth. There's no way in this world chicken is my sister. Well, but that was too late. Chicken was gone. But the next day, you know what happened? The sun got hot all over again. It was actually hotter than the day before, and the animals went boogity boogity all the way to the water hole again. Boogity boogity boogity. Pew. You know who got to the water hole first? Again? Yeah, it was chicken. And chicken went. Chicken got to the water hole, jumped in right away, wasted no time, and chicken went drinking and splashing, woo, and drinking and splashing, wow, and drinking and splashing, woo, and drinking and splashing. Oh, chicken was having such a good time, drinking and splashing. There is that chicken again, drinking and splashing my neighborhood. I'm gonna get you good today. Ka-choom, chow, ka-choom, chay, ka-choom, chow, ka-choom, chay. And chicken was drinking and splashing, woo, and all of a sudden, wah! Chicken saw all the pearly white teeth of crocodile dripping with saliva. It was disgusting. Oh, it stunk. Oh, what a breath crocodile had. There are chunks of zebra and chunks of wildebeest stuck there for 6 months. Oh, crocodile never flossed. Crocodile never brushed. Oh, it was a biohazard. Please don't bite me. Please don't eat me. Crocodile, 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 crocodile. I'm your sister. Chicken was not ready for what happened next. Crocodile jumped out of the water hole and started chasing chicken right into the jungle. Crocodiles can run really fast, and crocodile's tail was hitting trees this way, hitting trees that way. Birds were flying everywhere. Monkeys were holding on for dear life. Crocodile was in the jungle for the very first time that day. Yeah, and all of a sudden, chicken was gone. Chicken was nowhere to be found. And when Crocodile was about to give up and go back to the water hole, Crocodile saw a lizard going up a tree, like lizards do, you know? Yeah, the chicken was, the lizard was going, oh, something feels very strange. Birds are flying everywhere. Monkeys are holding on for dear life. What's going on in the jungle? Whoa, that's a big crocodile. Crocodile, may I help you? You want to help me? I doubt it. Been trying to eat a chicken since yesterday, but, I got close to eat chicken, and chicken says, my sister. There's no way chicken is my sister. I mean, look at me. Look at that chicken. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But you're absolutely mistaken, crocodile. Chicken is your sister in the most beautiful of ways. Yes, listen up. Listen up. We're all different, crocodile. All animals are different. Even a crocodile doesn't look like another crocodile. Yeah. You're all different, yeah, and chickens are all different, but you have to realize one thing, crocodile. Behind those differences, we're more like each other than we care to think about. That's the truth. Yes, aside from all the differences we have on the outside, we're more like each other than we care to think about, okay? So it's about time we start caring, okay? And so, for example, people are different too. Some folks are taller than others, some are darker than others, some live in the countryside, others live in the city side, some love to barbecue, others prefer to eat tofu. Everything, everybody's different. Yeah, one rock is like another rock. Yeah, but there's something that you have in common with chicken that you have no idea, and the kids know. Yeah, kids know this, and because chickens lay eggs, crocodile. Whoa. And when crocodile heard that, crocodile's mouth went, ah! Because as you know, crocodiles lay eggs too. And that day, crocodile learned something very special and something I hope you never forget, that no matter how different we look on the outside from one another, deep in here, in the most beautiful of ways, we are all brothers and sisters.
I was born and grew up in Texas, but for about 30 years of my life, I lived in the state of Oklahoma. And during those years, I became friends with a woman named Lynn Maroney. Lynn Maroney was from the Chickasaw Nation of Oklahoma. She collected stories about the sky, the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets. Lynn's wish was that those stories would be passed down to the generations to come when she was no longer able to tell them. So now, because Lynn can't tell those stories anymore, I'd like to share one of them with you. They say that long, long ago, back in the days when the animals could talk, there were no stars in the sky. Not a single star to light up the night sky. Now, of course, in the daytime there was sun, so there was plenty of light then. And at night, well, there was the moon. But you know how it is with the moon. The moon is sometimes big and full and round and gives off a great deal of light. But then the days go by and the moon is only half there. And then more days go by and the moon is just a sliver of light in the sky, and then the moon disappears from the sky. Well, on those nights when there was no moon at all in the sky, some of the small animals would become frightened because they would get lost in the dark and they couldn't find their way home. And the animals who tried to hunt at night could not see their prey and they would become hungry. And so the animals decided to ask the Creator, the Great Spirit, for help. They called out, "Oh, Great Spirit, please help us. Please give us more light at night in the sky. Light that will always be there no matter what happens with the moon." And the Creator took pity on those animals. And the Great Spirit said, "I will help, but you must do your part. All of you, go down to the riverbank and look along the edge of the water and gather up stones. Not the small, round, smooth stones. No, look for those little jagged stones with sharp edges and bring those back to me." And the animals did as the Great Spirit told them. They came back with piles of stones and they placed them before the great Creator. And the Creator picked up one of those stones and placed it up into the sky. And it stuck there. And it began to sparkle and to glitter and to glow in the sky because that little stone had turned into a star. And the great Creator said, "This star will be a very special one. We will call it the home star. It will always be in the same place when you look in the sky at night. And so if you get lost, you can find your way home. Now, here's what each of you must do. I will give you a sack, And you will take as many of these stones as you can carry, and you will go up into the sky this very night. And you will place those stones in the sky and make pictures of yourselves. Only on this one night can this happen. And so the animals put the stones in their sacks, and sure enough, they began to rise into the sky, higher and higher and higher. And they began to choose places in the sky where they would make pictures of themselves. But as the animals were rising into the sky, the great Creator called back one of the animals. Coyote! Coyote, come here. I have a special job for you. You see, some of the animals are so small they will not be able to carry very many stones, and so they will not be able to complete the pictures of themselves. So I am giving you an extra large bag of stones. You will take them into the sky with you, and when an animal runs out of stones, then they will find you, and they will have enough stones to complete their pictures. This is a special job, Coyote, and you have been chosen. Well, Coyote took that sack of stones, but he didn't want to. He didn't like it. You see, Coyote was lazy. He didn't like hard work. And as he rose up into the sky with that heavy sack of stones, he complained. How come it has to be me? Why did I get this job? I don't like carrying heavy things. I don't like doing hard work. I don't know why I have to do it. And then Coyote looked around and he saw that nobody was watching him, and so he just reached down into that sack and he took out a handful of stones and he threw them up into the sky. And they stuck. And they began to sparkle and to glitter and to glow because they had turned into stars. Coyote walked on, dragging that sack behind him, complaining all the way. And every now and then he would take a handful more of those stones and just throw them up into the sky, where they would turn into stars. Now, meanwhile, the other animals, they were busy making pictures of themselves. Eagle had flown far, far high into the sky, and he had found the perfect place to make his picture. And Bear and Lion, they needed large open spaces in the sky to make big pictures of themselves. Now, Crab and Lizard, they didn't need very much room, and it didn't take very many of those stones to make their picture, but after a while, Little Dog, who wasn't very strong, ran out of stones. And Butterfly, who couldn't carry very much weight, she ran out of stones. Well, they began to look for Coyote as the Great Spirit had told them they should. They called out for him, Coyote! Coyote! Please, where are you? We need more stones. But Coyote, he had found a nice soft cloud and had fallen asleep. Well, Little Dog and Butterfly found Coyote lying there asleep, and his sack was empty. And at that very moment, they saw a light in the eastern sky. The sun was rising, and they knew, as Great Spirit had told them, that they would have to return to earth now. They had only been allowed to be in the sky that one night. And so they went back to the earth. And Coyote had to return to the earth too. But he had not made a picture of himself. And so that's why, to this day, when you go out on a very dark night and you look up at the sky, you will see that there are some stars in the sky that look like pictures of all kinds of creatures. But there are also some stars that look like they are pictures that have not been finished. And there will be many, many, many stars that look like they were just tossed up into the sky willy-nilly. And they don't make pictures at all, even though they are beautiful. And now you know that's how the stars got in the sky. But you also know that that's why coyotes at night will look up at the sky and they will howl and cry and moan because they know that their great-great-grandfather coyote did not put their picture in the sky. So don't ever be as lazy as Coyote.
Hello, friends in Midland. I'm Donald Davis. I have a brother named Joe. Joe is about 2.5 years younger than I am, and he is the quietest, calmest, slowest, most patient person you have ever met. In fact, his email address is Slow Joe. But when we were little boys, do you think he was patient back then? He could not wait for anything. If we were going to go somewhere, why are we in the car? When are we going to go? When are we going to go? When are we going to go? As soon as we were in the car, how much farther is it? How much farther is it? How much farther is it? And I'm going to tell you, if he had to go to the bathroom, he better be in the bathroom before he ever thought about it. He just had no patience, and he could not wait. Now, for somebody with absolutely no patience, what do you think might be one of the hardest times of the year? Christmas. The tree would go up, presents would start showing up under the tree, and my little brother Joe could not stand it. I mean, he was only about 4 years old, and he just absolutely could not stand to see those presents and know what was in there. He would go over there, and he'd get hold of them, and he'd shake them and shake them and shake them. He couldn't even read. He didn't know which ones had his names on it. But finally he figured out J-O-E. That was pretty easy to see. And when he would figure out what one of his presents was, he would just shake the life out of it. Our mother would come in there, and she would say, Joe, put those presents down. Do not bother those presents. You do not open presents until Christmas morning. Do you think that made it better? That just made it worse. Well, here's what he would do. When our mother was in the other end of the house, or when our mother was outside doing something, maybe in the garage, my little brother Joe would sneak in the living room. He would get one of the presents that had J-O-E on it. He would hide behind a big chair in the corner, and he would open it. Now, he would not just open it a little bit to see what it was. No, he would totally open the present, take the toy out, play with it, and then he thought he could fix it back again. You think he could do that? No. You see, he had already torn the paper. He had already, gotten the ribbon off. He had already pulled the tape off. And sometimes he couldn't even get everything all back in the box. And he would try to put the paper together. But see, he knew where our mother kept the big roll of tape. And so he would get it back together as much as he could. And then he'd start putting on tape, 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 tape. Tape, 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 tape. By the time he could put it back together, that was the awfulest looking present you've ever seen. And then he would dare say this. He would dare pick up one of those awful looking presents and say, look, everybody, look. Somebody's been messing with my presents. And then Christmas morning would come, and he'd pick up one of those presents he had already opened. And he'd open it with a great big show, and he'd take out some little toy and say, oh, look at this. I've never seen anything like this. I never knew I was going to get something like this. I think, liar, 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 liar. Well, my parents tried every trick they knew, and they could not fool him. One year, they even switched the names on the presents. And you know what? He opened all my presents before Christmas came. Well, it went on, it went on, it went on. And my little brother Joe got to be maybe about 6 years old. He was going to school, and at school, he had been talking to some of the big boys. And the big boys had told him some nasty things about Christmas. They had told him that if you were bad, Santa Claus wouldn't bring you any toys. They told him if you were bad, Santa Claus would bring you things like lumps of coal and switches and dirt. And he came home crying. And he told our mother what he learned at school. And she said, "Oh, sweetheart, calm down, calm down. Those old big boys are just trying to fool you. They're just trying to make you miserable. Santa Claus is good. Santa Claus won't bring you lumps of coal. He won't bring you switches. He won't bring you stuff like that because, you know, Santa Claus is good." Well, a little more time went on. And one day, my brother came in the house and he said to our mother, "I figured something out." She said, "When did you figure it out?" He said, "When we went to see Santa Claus." "Well, what did you figure out?" she said. He said, "Santa Claus, for all it's put up to be, doesn't know anything." My mother said, "Why'd you say that?" He said, "Because I got up in his lap, and the first thing he did was he asked me what my name was. If he doesn't know my name, how's he know whether I'm telling the truth or not? And then he asked me how old I was. If he doesn't even know how old I am, Santa Claus doesn't know anything, and I'm not scared of him." My mother said, well, I guess we'll just see about that. You know what? My daddy was listening to that conversation. And my daddy loved more than anything else to play tricks on people. And when I saw him listening and smiling, I knew we were going to have a very interesting Christmas this year. Well, as usual, my little brother, one at a time, opened every one of his presents. He would open them up, take them out, play with them, put them back, tape, 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 tape. And they looked terrible. Well, Christmas finally came. And we got up, and we came in the living room, and there were presents Santa Claus had brought us, because Santa Claus didn't wrap the presents. He put my presents with my stocking that he took down over the chimney. He put my brother Joe's presents with his stocking that he had taken down from the same mantelpiece. And all of a sudden, my little brother just ran back and started laughing his head off. He was just laughing his head off. And our mother and daddy came in there, and our mother said, "Joe, what's so funny?" He said, "Look at what Santa Claus brought me. Look at what Santa Claus brought me." And my mother said, "Is it what you wanted? Isn't it what you wanted?" My brother said, "Of course it is. But here's the thing." He said, "I've been bad. And Santa Claus brought me good stuff anyway." See, I told you Santa Claus didn't know anything. And my mother said, "Well, you know, Santa Claus is old, and maybe he forgets things sometimes. But why don't we go ahead to the other presents?" And then my daddy said, "Joe, yeah, let's open the presents from all the other relatives. Why don't you go first?" And he picked up this present. You could tell it had been opened. It had tape all over the outside of it. He said, "Who's this from?" And my mother read it, and she said, "Oh, this present's from your Aunt Esther. You know, she always thinks so much about what she gets you. Why don't you open it up and see what it is?" And my little brother struggled with all the tape. He finally got it off, and he pulled a little bit of paper out of the box, and he looked down in the box. It had a rock in it. My daddy said, "What'd you get from Aunt Esther?" My brother said, "Rock." My dad said, "What'd you say? I didn't quite hear you." "A rock! I got a rock, a rock, a rock." My dad said, "Well, open another one and see what you got." There was a long present from my Uncle Spencer. He opened it. It was a whole bundle of switches like you could get a spanking with. The more he opened, the worse it got. He opened a present from Aunt Mary, and it turned out to be lumps of coal. He opened another present. It was an already full vacuum cleaner bag of dirt. He opened another present. It was empty dog food cans, but not rinsed out. There was just old dog food juice still dripping out of them and all the paper inside. He opened a present. It was a broken Coca-Cola bottle with the glass carefully gathered up and wrapped in some tissue paper. There was not one single present. My mother said, "Well, what do you think about that?" My brother said, "I don't know. I don't know." And would you believe my parents sat there and they watched me open my presents one at a time, all the little toys, books and toys and special things, and they watched me play with all the things I got, maybe for 20 minutes, while my brother Joe just sat there. He was not going to cry no matter what. He absolutely was not going to cry. Well, after about 20 minutes, my daddy said, "Oh, let me go check on something." And he went out back in the bedroom, and he came out of a closet back into the living room, and he had all Joe's toys in his arms. My little brother said, "You did it. I should have known. You did it." And my mother said, "Joe, I thought you said Santa Claus didn't know anything." My little brother started crying now. He couldn't hold it anymore. He said, "Santa Claus doesn't know anything. So he brought me good presents even if I was bad. All this old nasty stuff, it came from my own relatives who are supposed to love me." And then my mother said, "You know what? Maybe your relatives, starting with your daddy, maybe your relatives are smarter than Santa Claus." And do you know what? I think that was the year when my little brother started becoming the most patient person in the whole world. Anybody here ever find or open or get into a present you weren't supposed to mess with? Well, if you did, maybe you've got a Christmas story of your own. Or did you ever ask your parents a question like that? Ask them and see what happens. Mom, Dad, when you were little, did you ever open a present you weren't supposed to get into? And you might learn something about one of your parents that you just never knew before. You know, I always loved during Christmas to go to my grandmother's house because my grandparents lived way in the mountains in an old log house. They had no electricity and they had no running water. And you know what? They never put their Christmas tree up until Christmas Day. And we would go to their house, and I would go out with the uncles and my daddy, and we would cut a Christmas tree and come in the house, and we would put it up, and then here's what the decorations would be. My grandmother would put soap powder onto the tree like it was snow. And then they would take little wooden candle holders and put little fresh candles in it and clip them onto the limbs of the tree. And while we're all standing there watching, they would light those candles and they would burn for about a minute and then we would blow them out so they wouldn't set the tree on fire and the house wouldn't burn down. And you know what? They had the big Christmas celebration on the 6th day of January, Epiphany Day, because that's the day when the wise men finally found the baby and brought the presents. So we kind of got to have two Christmases. One on December 25th, Christmas Day, and another one when we went back to my grandparents' house on the 12th day of Christmas, when the wise men came, and that's when we would get our presents from them. I hope all of you have wonderful holidays, whether you celebrate Kwanzaa, or you celebrate Christmas, or you celebrate any holiday that comes from any tradition that you have. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. So long.
Please join us for the remainder of the Midland Storytelling Festival for 2021. You can go to our Facebook page or our website at www.midlandstorytellingfestival.org to see the full festival schedule. Then keep it locked right here on our YouTube channel. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody. And thank you for watching.